She's a mother of five. I don't know how common that is either, but she holds a Bachelor of Science degree in biology from Auburn University. She is also a nationally board certified functional medicine health and wellness coach and graduated from the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. And she's the owner of Coach in Tandem, a health coaching service, which I can tell you is a gift to many and has been a gift to two of my daughters as well. So super helpful. And she is an incredible teacher and a wonderful friend. Loisann, thank you for doing this. You know, I have pen and paper ready to take notes. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Leanne. What a treat. Thank you for that very kind introduction. I'm super glad to be here, and this is truly one of my favorite things to do. And so I hope that this time that you've carved out is going to be helpful. It's going to be refreshing, and that you'll at least take away one nugget that you feel like is a doable step to improve you and whoever else's immune system you would like to improve, whether it's a friend, a partner, a spouse, a kids, whoever it might be. You Yes, that's my hope, that today will be very practical and helpful. So thank you for being here and thank you for making this time. I'm going to jump right into it as well because, uh, and I wanted to do a little bit of a different tack today. So when we think about our immune system and not getting sick, right? Putting up this barrier, kind of like a fort, or a fortress around ourselves, and staying away from the bad guys that come in and infect us in some way. We often think about what do we need to do? Today I want to talk about what sabotages our immune system and what do we need to not do. And so sometimes just a little bit of shift in our thinking can help us, think of different things. We might already be doing some additions, but what are the things that are my habits, my particular practices that are actually sabotaging my immune system, making it weaker, making it less able to protect me and my loved ones. So that's where I want to go. I want to and some of them might be a surprise to you. So the first one I want to tackle, and I have six or seven. I have seven. So the first one I want to tackle might be a surprise. One way that we sabotage our immune system is to not get enough sleep, to either get poor sleep or not enough sleep. When we rest, so much restoration happens in our body. Healing happens, repair happens, and strengthening happens. The other piece that happens when we're sleeping is a lot of the absorption in our digestive process, meaning all the nutrients we ate in the day will finally get to the point where they're ready to be absorbed into the body. And that is taking place. So it gets from our, gut, it goes into our bloodstream, and then the blood takes it all over to everything in our body that needs nutrition, as well as oxygen. And so that whole system, it comes alive while we're resting, while our heart rate is slower, while our respiratory rate is slower. If we're not getting a good amount of sleep for our bodies, that's one of the first places to look. If you're always getting a cold, if you feel like you need medication, you're running to the doctor with the kids, that is a really good place to start, is sleep. Are we prioritizing sleep in our home? Is it something that we um, make important and have some systems in place that make that easy rather than a hard fight as everyone's trying, to get to bed. So what would be a solution to that? One is to have this idea of a digital sunset. You've heard probably blue light screens. They do interrupt our melatonin production, which is the hormone that causes our body to start thinking about sleep and starting to relax. That should be increasing throughout the last part of the day and the early evening. But when we're on blue screens, that limits the production of melatonin. It's been largely studied. So what do we do with that? Well, how about 1 hour before you'd like the family, the kids, whoever, yourself to go to bed? What would be a good time? Then 1 hour before that, say that the sun has set on the screens. And now we're going to, read a book, or we're going to play a card game, or maybe we're going to listen to an audiobook. Maybe we're going to do some light, gentle stretching, or, a little practice of prayer or meditation, some reading, something that calms us down, something that doesn't isn't hard on the eyes. The eyes are a direct connect to our brain. So when we're using our eyes right before we're going to bed, that's stimulating the brain to be awake. And the blue light is adds to that in big form. So that would be one thing that we can work on getting rid of, is that poor sleep or not enough sleep. And a second thing would be, I'm hitting some big ones here right at the get-go. The second one would be our chronic stress. So I am right at the top of the mountain in terms of I'm talking to myself about this. I'll just be honest, I'm working on this in my own body, in my own life. So as I explore this myself and not just coaching my clients, it becomes more and more real to me. The research becomes more real. My curiosity becomes even deeper. So we're all going to have low-grade stress. That's just the way we live in a broken world. We live in a fast-paced world, and we live in broken bodies. They're not perfect. So stress is just going to be natural. And there are some stressors that are really good for our body. Our body learns from, our body gets stronger from. And in fact, me preparing for, you for this talk, gets a lot of things going inside of me that are stressors on my body. But when this is over, that has then I'm able to, reset. That has made me stronger immune wise. So some stresses are helpful to our body, but the chronic low grade stress that is happening that sometimes we're not even aware of. So it's happening, and it's, even if it's mild, but it's ongoing. Someone that I was speaking with recently um, was working with someone who works in an ER, and she's a nurse practitioner and she works in an ER. So, there's going to be a level of stress at her job that is, pretty constant. And she didn't even realize the impact that was having on her internally. So if we can work to mitigate that and manage that stress, to help that stress reset, that's when we can eliminate that sabotage. When we're super stressed, the biggest part of our immune system, which is actually our gut microbiome, is thrown out of whack. And so being able to say, okay, recognize the stress first of all, and then reset your body in a way that accepts it, first recognizes, then accepts it, and then manages it in a way that is reduces the stressful way your body feels. Then we're able to improve the immune system, because that so much of our immune system operates from our gut to the rest of our body. um, the stress problem of their insults on our gut, on our immune system, every time we have them. So a solution would be even though we feel fine during the day, yeah, this is my work. This is what I do. This is, I can perform. I can do this. I can handle my kids all day long. I can, flip the pancakes, and I can, manage the laundry, and I can do all this. But what is it doing internally? So if we can have some little systems in place, like a stress break. So I often talk about exercise breaks, but I want to encourage um, to manage this ongoing chronic stress, little stress breaks throughout the day. You might have heard if you are someone who has to work on a computer a lot during the day, taking an eye break is very, very helpful to your brain's functioning and the stress on your eyes. So walking away from the computer, I think it's recommended like every hour you walk away for a couple of minutes. That's what I'm talking about with a stress break. So no matter what is happening during your day, if you will take a minute and break away from it, even if you're sitting in your chair and you just turn away from whatever you're doing, or you just close your eyes and take some deep, slow breaths, and um, you know uh, speak some truths to yourselves, self about, um, I'm safe, I'm capable, I'm here, and I have things to offer, and things are going to work out fine. Some truths to yourself about, if you believe in God, you can speak those truths to yourself. That He is here, He is my stronghold, He is. He is walking me through this. He is right beside me. You can speak some things that help to regulate that stress response that our body is giving to the stress. So that's really what we're doing, is we're working on our response to it. So a little stress break. Okay, so you might not be able to walk away from the desk or the person who's right in front of you, or whatever it is, or just the experience, but you can take, a breath. And breath work is one of the best ways to reduce stress. There's a couple that I like to teach. Really, there's three that I like to teach. One of them is the 4-7-8 breathing. You can look that up if you're interested. It's to inhale to the count of 4, a nice deep breath, to hold it for 7 seconds, and then to let it out through your mouth for 8 seconds. So the 1 second longer on the exhale is the key. So inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale through the mouth for 8 is one very it regulates your stress response out of your fight or flight response to your calming, rest, and digest nervous part of your system. And then another one is box breathing. And our special guest here at the end might be able to speak to this as well. I have read some studies that they've done both on military members, elite military members who, uh, these were early on, these were terrible studies, but I guess they were willing participants, I hope. Um, but they studied their sleep for the sharpshooters who were responsible for um, meeting targets very far away, and who had to be react within a split second, and had to be very accurate. And so they were trying to see how much sleep we can deprive them of before they start having it affect their accuracy. And it was actually, the accuracy started declining right after they were not getting 7 or 8 hours. So that was one piece of it. But the other piece was, okay, what can we do to help them be more accurate in our training? And the box breathing is one that is used in a lot of military elite target shooting. And that is just imagining a square box, and you're inhaling, the count is 4 on everything. So you're inhaling for 4, and you imagine going gently up the box. You're holding it for 4 seconds, and you're going across the top. this is how I teach it. I'm not sure how they teach it in the military classes, but this it's the principle. The four. Then you exhale for the count of four down the box. So you're imagining just going down the side of the box. And then after you've exhaled for 4 seconds, then you're holding that exhale, that natural nothingness after the exhale across the bottom of the box, and you start all over again. And we've learned that this calms, again, the heart rate, the respiratory rate, and gives them the ability to focus and act when they need to act. So breathing for us, we can use that too. The box breathing, the 4-7-8. There's another one I've learned recently, and I'm not even sure the name of it, but you take a nice big breath, take it nice and big, and then you blow it out really fast through your mouth. And then you blow out the extra that you didn't even realize was in your lungs. You never can exhale all of it, don't worry. But so it kind of looks like this. You go, so it's kind of funny and odd, right? But you're actually immediately moving from the fight or flight, which is called um the sympathetic nervous system, to the parasympathetic. So you do that a couple of times in a really stressful situation, and it helps bring everything back down. So those are a couple of solutions to that chronic stress. There's other things like a cold plunge, a walk, if you have time and you can plan these things in your day. Um, just listening to beautiful music, talking with a friend, just something that brings your stress down. I was going to say exercise, but these are stress breaks throughout the day can help manage that stress. Then to strengthen your immune system. The third thing I wanted to talk about is, remember, these are things that sabotage your immune system. So processed foods is a big piece of sabotaging our immune system. When we eat things that have a lot that are basically made with um, ground up products that have dyes and seed oils and um, all kinds of preservatives, so much so that they don't even look like a food that we would recognize or that our great grandparents would recognize. Those foods are actually causing our immune system to plummet. Anything with a high sugar, anything with that's low fiber, uh, all of that actually is feeding the unhealthy bacteria that are trying to populate in our guts. We want to feed the healthy, the good guys who are actually immune builders in our gut. And we have these two types of bacteria and viruses and even fungi that live in our guts. And the healthy ones are the ones that um, come in and metabolize, they break down our food and then make the metabolites that will give our immune cells, because we have immune cells that actually live there in our gut. It's just kind of a whole new area of science the last 30 years, and it's exploding right now. And so these good guys we want to feed, but these all these processed foods, these sugary drinks, they feed the bad guys. And so what is that doing? Well, that means that our immune cells are not getting what they need, and so they decline in number. They get damaged, and they can't fight off any bacteria or viruses that are coming our way. So, what's the solution to that? Well, the solution to that is simply eating real food. Real food is food that you recognize, and eat it as close to grown as close to home as possible, raised as close to home as possible, and in its most natural state as you can. That's just basically real food. The other piece of that, what our bacteria love to eat, the healthy ones in our gut, is fruit and vegetable fiber. That's where they shine. So the more fiber that we eat with our vegetables and our fruits, so eat with the skin on, eat the whole thing. That's when we're feeding the good bacteria. So that's the solution when you want to back away from the sabotaging foods, is to then fuel your body with more vegetables and fruits, eating everything else as healthy and as clean as possible. All right, so I have three more I want to cover. So this one's a quickie, but might surprise you after that pesky virus that went global a few years ago. We were told the opposite, but I'm here to tell you that what sabotages our immune systems is when we over sanitize our world. You just heard me talking about bacteria that live within us. We also have a microbiome that lives on our skin. And these guys will keep pathogens from getting in through the skin pores. Okay. So these are very important. I know we're just covered in bacteria. I hope you're not grossed out by that. But good thing is we can't see them unless we look under a microscope. So when we wash our hands constantly with alcohol-based sanitizing solutions, we are washing off the good bacteria. So only use sanitizing washes when it's absolutely necessary. Are you going to perform surgery? Are you going to fix food for others? Those are the two most important things. We would want to sanitize our hands. Otherwise, we just need to wash the dirt off, so it's not getting in our mouth or it's not getting on our clothes. Just rinse it off under the water or use some kind of mild, gentle soap that does not kill germs. We have so many germs on this earth that were designed to give us immunity. And when we sanitize ourselves and our, little world as much as we possibly can, we're actually sabotaging our immune system. We're sabotaging the strength of it. So that one might be a surprise. So the solution, I already said, just don't do it. Wash your hands with water most of the time. Certainly after you go to the bathroom, you would want to probably use some soap, but a mild soap that's not killing everything. Okay. All right, that's the idea about that. So the last couple of things are staying indoors for too long. This sabotages our immune system if we're inside all day. Now, I know many work inside all day, but again, we talked about those little stress breaks, take them outside whenever you can. That gives your body the ability to synthesize vitamin D. That's just a fancy word for make. And so when you're able to synthesize vitamin D, then we learned that during the pesky virus years too. The people who did the worst were the people with the lowest vitamin D levels. That is a direct correlation, a direct causation, I should say. So get outside whenever you can, because when you're staying inside a lot, that is sabotaging your immune system. So even if you walk outside just for a minute, just for 60 seconds, do it when you can. And do it as often as you can. All right, so another thing is ignoring frequent gut issues. So I am going to get a little bit, I don't want to say gross, but I'm going to get a little bit graphic. Not a lot, I promise. But don't ignore your gut issues. What does that mean? Well, if you don't have a normal, soft formed bowel movement, then you're having gut issues. Meaning, if you have constipation or watery stools, watery loose stools, you have gut issues. Don't ignore them. That means you have immune system issues. If your gut is not operating properly, your immune system is not operating properly. So I won't get into that any more than just get it worked out. And if the doctor wants to put you on antibiotics to get it worked out, find another doctor. And that is because antibiotics will kill not just the harmful bacteria, but the good bacteria. And then you're in a worse position immune wise. All right. So the solution would be instead of ignoring, would be again to add fiber. Which doesn't make sense on some regard, but trust me, add fiber, make 50% of your plate good cruciferous fibrous vegetables when you're eating lunch and dinner, and then also drinking plenty of water. So those two things can really help with getting that regulated. And if you can't do it on your own, then seek out a physician or a practitioner who will help you do it in other natural ways. The last thing I wanted to cover is really sitting. Sitting all the time is sabotaging our immune system. You've probably heard, if you've heard me before, you might have heard me say it, but others say it long before me. Sitting is the new smoking. You know that smokers, when they get a cold, it's problematic. They have respiratory issues, they have thicker mucus, they have a harder time getting over it, it takes longer. Sitting is the new smoking. I want you to think about that with our immune system. Our immune system is harmed by sitting a lot. And here's why. You know, we have this heart and all these blood vessels. The heart pumps, pushes all the blood throughout our body. What's important about that? Well, it's taking oxygen and nutrients to our brain, everything that needs those to keep us alive. Well, we also have a lymphatic system, commonly called the immune system. The lymphatic system is a bunch of vessels all throughout the body. Most of the places where we have blood vessels, we also have lymph vessels, moving a fluid called lymph, and it contains all of those wonderful natural killer cells, T cells, B cells, all the things you've heard about. And they're circulating all over the body on reconnaissance. Okay. So they're going all over the body looking for problems, looking for invaders, looking for pathogens. When we're sitting, there's no pump for the lymphatic system. The heart doesn't pump the lymph. So what does make that fluid move around the body? How can those cells move? It's movement that allow them to move. So when you and I get up and get that body moving in the morning, in the midday, in the afternoon, whenever you can, even if it's just for a few minutes, take that phone call outside, get some vitamin D, walk around and take that call. Go outside and eat your lunch. Yeah, I know it's hot. It certainly is in Central Florida, but you can stand it for 10 or 15 minutes and walk around a little bit, get some movement in, take a little break, do a little do some yoga. I call them exercise snacks. Exercise snacks. You know, sit on the wall and do a wall sit so that, you know, your quads, your upper legs are at a 90-degree and your back is flat against the wall. Do that for as long as you can and build up time. That's an exercise snack. It could be 30 seconds long the first time you do it, but it could grow from there. You could you know, go over behind your desk and do, you know, 20 squats. That's an exercise snack. And I don't mean with a bar, because I know that's not always possible during the middle of a work day. But though lifting weights is great exercise for moving lymph, definitely. Weight training is a piece of this, but I'm also talking about moving when you can, because then you're helping your immune system move all that lymph so that those really smart lymph cells, leukocytes, all of them can do what they are once they identify a foreign invader in your body, then the killer cells come in and they go after it, they handle it. Enemy taken care of. When we're moving, our immune system is stronger. So those are my 7 ways that I wanted to take away the sabotage actions, habits we maybe didn't know we were actually sabotaging our immune system. And then I wanted to end with one easy way that me and my family have boosted our immune system, supported it and nourished it, strengthened it in a very easy way is this product you might have seen on the flyer. It's called Juice Plus, and it's 30 different fruits and vegetables. Some are in capsule form. Can also get it in a powder stick form to mix with water. There's also I want to say fish oil, omegas, a bunch of different omegas in capsule form. It's an amazing way to just daily pop in and get that extra nutrition. We all know we should be eating more fruits and vegetables. We all know that our immune system needs support in this crazy mixed up upside down world we live in. And this is one way for over 20 years now. We have been adding to our immune system, adding phytonutrients, adding uh, strengthening to our immune system, improving our recovery. And the reason that I was attracted to it as a, as a biology person uh, who learns a lot about the body every day is that it's been studied. It has a lot of research behind it that has been done on the product, not just something that's in the product. So it has a robust over 48 studies that have been done at very impressive places like universities and hospitals and the NIH. So it's a very powerful, very easy way to get extra nutrition, pushing out those, those sugary foods that I talked about earlier. So with that, I wanted to introduce our special guest, and he's going to tell you about himself, but I will tell you, I'll be straight up front. We are related, and his name is Benjamin Fowler. We call him Ben, and he is currently serving in the United States Marine Corps and is married and has two wonderful children. He has blessed us with grandchildren, he and his wife. And I'm going to let him tell his story because he wanted, uh, really was willing to share a little bit about why he and his family also eat Juice Plus. So, Ben, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Mom and Leanne. I really appreciate you asking me to do this, and I'm really humbled and honored that I get to come on and share my story and how we started Eating Juice Plus. And honestly, if anything that I say can help one person, that's the goal today, that to help you or your family a little bit healthier, mentally, physically, spiritually. So I hope that happens. I really do. So like my mom said, my name is Ben. I grew up in Central Florida, mostly in the Orlando area. I was always a very active kid up until middle school, high school, very involved in sports and athletics, out in the woods doing, outdoorsy type stuff, all throughout my, young adulthood. And then ultimately ended up going to college to play a little bit of football, and pursuing a degree, which I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Physiology. Um, I am now married with two wonderful children and an absolutely wonderful wife. And for the last, now, as of last month, over 15 years, I've been active duty in the United States Marine Corps. And through all of this, I've always tried to optimize my nutrition, my health, really through the lens of athletic performance. Considering, a very athletic background until the military, it's very physically demanding. So that's kind of my lens that I approach my physical health and well-being. As I get older, especially after having children, I definitely take a lens more of longevity and immunity. I think naturally you realize as you start to get older, you're not invincible. The human body is very susceptible to disease and decay and all the things that we go through in our day-to-day and in normal life. So, but me and my wife, Nicole, since first getting to know each other when we were dating, both had a very similar mindset of health and wellness and maximizing our nutrition. So always tried to eat right, lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of good proteins, lots of movement, always avoiding fast foods and seed oils and processed foods and all the things, and we were the type of people that said, well, we don't need the fancy supplements. We don't need that stuff. We're healthy people. We do all the things, right? We try and maximize our sleep, all that stuff, which we still do. right? And those are a huge part of it. That's all the main stuff. And we took Juice Plus on and off, mostly the reds and greens for the first couple of years of marriage. But it wasn't until earlier this year, and we weren't having any major problems. We just did a really deep dive into our health right before our second child was born. And, you know, one of my favorite sayings, and most parents will get this, and you may have heard it on some, internet video before. Every parent would die for their children. Every parent would kill for their children if they had to. But not every parent is probably living to the maximum degree that they could be for their children. And so that kind of hit home with me when I heard somebody say that. Am I doing the most that I can for my health? And me and my wife, are we doing the most for our health that we can so that we can be around as long as we can? And not only be around as long as we can, but be healthy in those years that we are around for as long as we can. So we started really looking into the nutrition of our food supply, and among other things, and that's not the focus of this talk specifically, but I would encourage everybody to look into exactly where your food is coming from. Look at those food labels, find out what your body needs and how to get it, and don't blindly just eat food and assuming that it's good for you. So like I said, I really encourage everybody to do that. And so along with this, we happened to be talking to my mom and Leanne, and it was Leanne who shared her story about Juice Plus, and for the last very many years she had been taking it and all the benefits, and it was one of those like, hey, why don't we give this a shot? There's no downside. Let's give this a shot. And so we did. And so a little over 6 months ago, we started taking, as they call it, the quad. So it's the 4 different Juice Plus capsules. It's the omegas, the berry blend, the greens, and the red blend. And I also do a couple of the powders. I just finished my Illuminate, actually. And then we do the superfood blend for our kids. We put them in smoothies. Well, for one's still breastfeeding, but for our 2-year-old, we make a smoothie once or twice a week and put that in there. So that's a great thing for kids. Just absolutely packed full of nutrients that's going to support all kinds of brain development for young and old ones, right? Young ones, old ones of all ages. But that's a tool we've really enjoyed for our kids. But there's three kind of fields, you could say, that I have specifically noticed in my own over the last 6 months, and kind of the beginning of our Juice Plus journey, if you will. And those 3 things are immune support, athletic performance, and cognitive function. So as far as immune support, right, which is the focus here today, we have noticed, and any parents with young kids, whether you're in daycare or whatever they're doing, little kids are always getting sick, right? It's part of their development. It's part of them developing their immune system. You're getting exposed to all these different pathogens for the first time. They get the sniffles all the time. So, and that comes to mom and dad naturally, right? So number one, we get sick way less often. But not only if there is a bug going around, which is sometimes inevitable, no matter if you do everything perfect, you optimize your sleep, you reduce your stress, you have your perfect diet, right? You're taking all the right supplements or in food and everything like that. Eventually there is something, right? You get exposed to, you're going to feel some type of way about it. So and there was really only one time in the last 6 months that an RSV type virus was kind of going around the house. And we all got a little bit under the weather. But it was way less severe and our symptoms were way decreased as opposed to similar viruses that we've had in previous years. So a couple things I noticed off the bat. None of us got the infection or the long-term, the thick mucus, the stuck in the chest won't go away, the things that make you want to go to a doctor and say, doc, I need something to kill all this. It never got that far, right? It never took a hold that much on our physical bodies that we even thought about going to a doctor and saying, you know, we need something to get rid of this. We could feel ourselves getting rid of it, you know, on our own, along with the help of our very good nutrition and Juice Plus. So as far as immune support, again, sick way less often, and then way less severe. And I know that part of, you know, taking this stuff and what it's doing for you in your gut microbiome is that the longer you take it, the more it's going to do for you, right? So the healthier and more robust your immune system is going to be helped through taking this stuff. So I look forward to, you know, hopefully getting sick even less, and, you know, if and when we do, you know, those symptoms being very, very mild. So, all right. So the second thing, athletic performance. So if any of you are familiar with whether it's the Marine Corps or, you know, just about everybody has a brother, cousin, aunt, uncle, granddad in the military, some, you know, some way, shape, or form. Every single year in the military, every branch of service does a physical fitness performance test. And it's scored differently in different branches, but you get a score every single year, and there's a certain benchmark you have to meet in order to stay within the military, because you have to be physically fit to serve in the military. Everybody knows that. And so I've taken this physical fitness test, which involves a series of a long run, pull-ups, and sit-ups for the Marine Corps. So I've done this every single year since I was 20 years old. I'm now 35. And this year, approximately 3 months after starting Juice Plus, I had the highest physical fitness score that I have ever had, right? So the oldest I've ever been had the highest score. And this test in the Marine Corps has not gotten any easier. It's actually gotten harder. About 5 years ago, they actually made it harder to do well on, right? So they upped the standards of, you know, what is ultimately a perfect score. So even with the test getting physically harder, I was able to do the best that I've ever gotten. So and the only thing I changed was taking Juice Plus. So that was something that really clicked in my brain. That, wow, if I can do better at 35 than I did at 25, there's something to this stuff. You know, it's worth looking into. And thankfully, you know, the studies are already there and you can see them. They've studied it on athletes, studied it on, you know, all kinds of different patients and stuff. That everything's on the website to look into. And it you know, with my degree background in exercise science and exercise physiology, I'm a stickler for your peer-reviewed, double-blind kind of studies, right? And so, you know, it's not just that some guy on the internet in cool glasses telling you, you know, this is the coolest supplement ever. This is very legitimate and very studied. You know, coming from someone who is a skeptic, I don't like to put just anything into my body. I don't like to put just anything in my children's body. So, you know, this stuff is kind of the real deal. Along with performing higher on an actual metriced physical test, I also noticed within, you know, a few weeks, a little bit, you know, and honestly, no matter what you're taking, you could potentially get the placebo effect because you want to feel better. But it was very noticeable after a few months that my recovery time through my workouts was improved, and I was able to have more training days and a little bit more intensity throughout the week without feeling completely gassed, right? And again, anybody with a full-time job and 2 young kids while trying to maintain a high level of physical performance, that will wear out anybody. I don't care who you are, right? So I like to say just about every day at the end of the day, instead of feeling completely done, it's like I still had a little bit more in the tank. And that was really great, because when you come home at the end of a long day after being up at 5 in the morning and working out and all the stressors of work and traffic, currently stationed in Washington, D.C., anybody who's familiar with the area or have even driven through it one time, you understand, speaking of chronic stress, right? The traffic that should be a 15-minute drive to work can be an hour and a half. Not exaggerating sometimes. So along with that, physically and mentally, at the end of the day, I started feeling like I could be a lot more present with my wife and my kids because I was more recovered. I was more cognitively just there. And that's, you can't put a price tag on that, is being able to, again, be present for all those things, especially with young kids. And that time period doesn't last forever. And I know that when my 2-year-old is constantly grabbing me saying, daddy, come do this, come do this. And, you have the energy to do that. So pretty fantastic. And then not to talk everyone's ear off, but the last thing, or the last kind of main area that I noticed, was my cognitive function. And so a lot of people, there's different words for it: fatigue, brain fog, right? Being unclear, being hazy, and a lot of that has to do with getting a good night's sleep and whether you're physically active, doing things like exercise, snacks, your diet. A lot of things play into that. It's not just one thing or one pill that you can take that's going to completely clear that up. Of course not. It's more complicated than that. But I noticed within probably 2 to 3 weeks of taking this, and I really kind of give credit probably to the omegas for this more than anything, because there's a lot of really great brain food in there, that, not only, being present kind of at the end of the day, right, mentally, not being just kind of out of it, but I was able to be noticeably more productive at work, right? And when you get more things done in your professional life, you feel more accomplished. It does, there's more good brain chemicals being released. You feel better about yourself at the end of the day because you're getting things done. But it's kind of a strange thing, and this is a little bit personal, but I found myself getting angry less. Everybody gets mad sometimes, everybody gets angry. And yeah, driving home in DC traffic will make just about anybody angry, right? And, where I work, we deal with some pretty serious stuff. And the Marine Corps and the military, but specifically the Marine Corps, is a very, very intense environment. And so, there's a lot of emotion that goes along with that. And so with sometimes comes a little bit of anger, right? And the last thing that any husband or father wants to do is walk through the front door while still holding on to some of that anger from work, or from traffic, or whatever the thing was that day. And so I found myself, when that did happen, and you get worked up about something, I found myself being able to release that a lot quicker, come back down to a level state, right? Homeostasis, right? For the anatomical correct terms, sticklers out there, your body always wants to get back to homeostasis. So I was able to reach that point a lot quicker. And that was honestly the most shocking thing. I know this wide range of micronutrients in your body. I hoped it would help me, not get sick less often. I hoped it would increase my performance and recovery, et cetera. But I had no idea that the most noticeable thing for me was emotional regulation, and being able to be calm when I needed to, and let some of that stuff go. So, and that's kind of, my Juice Plus story thus far, as you could say. We've only just started, really. Like I said, we took it on and off, a couple of the products, but we've been doing, now most of the products for over 6 months. We've really loved it. And, I hope that hearing my story, could potentially help somebody out there with your mental, physical, and spiritual health, as you were. So thanks so much, Mom and Leanne, for letting me share.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you so much. That was rich, robust, and heartfelt. That was just powerful. Thank you for being so open. Um, Beautifully done. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to say the same. I want to say the same. Loisann, your teaching was phenomenal, incredible gift. And Ben, your story is powerful. And thank you for being real and personal. And, you know, when I first started eating Juice Plus, what I've been saying now for 22 years is I got nicer. Right? I was sleeping
Yeah.
better. I was feeling better. I had more energy. I was homeschooling 4 kids. And so that emotional regulation just was incredible. But also we've been sick less and all of that. And I'm not going to share my story. I just wanted to thank both of you for this incredible gift. And I want to say to anybody that's joining us, Loisann, Ben, and I are all just encouraging you to take whatever that next step is, but absolutely consider adding Juice Plus, or if you're already eating it, think, who do I know that I could share it with? And the person that invited you would be happy to help you get started or to help you share it with somebody else, and learn about upcoming events. And I am going to offer this for all of you that were on. For me, there were people coming to mind that I was like, they couldn't get on. Even my husband had to leave for an appointment. And so he's only heard half of it. But, you know, I'm so thankful we recorded this. So any of you that are on that want this recording so you can share it with somebody you love, or if you didn't catch what all 6 of the things are, first, I'm going to tell you, because I have pages of notes. Sleep. I was like, oh no, we're going down this is challenging. Sleep, stress, it kind of got worse, not better, right at the beginning. Processed foods, I'm pretty good about that. Over sanitizing, I did know that, but Alan was like, I didn't know that, right? Like we're always all learning. Not ignoring gut issues. That was a big deal. And sitting. So we've all been, or I think Loisann is standing, but the rest of us have been sitting this whole time. So we're going to move and stop that. But this has been an incredible gift. Thank you so much, both of you. I am just so honored and thrilled. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm sure everyone on here feels the same. So thank you so much. If you want the recording, ask the person that invited you and I will figure out how to get it to you.
There you go. Okay. It's been a treat. Enjoyed it.
So wonderful. Thank you,
Yeah.
Loisann. Thank you, Ben.
Yes.
Oh my
Thank you,
God.
Ben.
My pleasure for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Good
All
to
right.
meet you all. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.